hey, we are back for another review of P-Valley, season 2, episode 7, entitled Jackson. Let's just jump right into it. In this episode, we get flashbacks of Ernestine performing an Aretha Franklin song at what used to be her juke joint, which is now the Pank. And she's performing throughout the decades, throughout the years, and what I would like to remind you guys is what y'all not going to do is play with Steen. Do not play with Ernestine, because let me remind you guys, she is an original dream girl. Now, the vocals were not giving original dream girl, but they were getting the job done. Anyway, so we see a young Clifford watching his grandma, talking to his mama, watching his granny perform. And then we jump forward to Ernestine in an empty club in current time. She's able to see, and she sees Clifford's mama. And Clifford's mama is calling her to the great beyond. She's like, girl, come rest. And Ernestine tells her, not now. I got a little more to do. I'm not ready just yet. So maybe an inclination that Ernestine is not going to make it much longer. But I don't know. I think your girl gonna pull through, but I'm gonna tell you why a little bit later. Just hang on. All right. So Uncle Clifford and Haley are in the club talking, and he is just walking through the club reflecting on all the time he spent in the club throughout the years. He tells Haley, like, it's time for us to stop talking at each other and start talking to each other. What I need for you to understand that this is more than just a club. It is memories. It is memories. It is my life. Like, my great grandfather, got shanked over there. Like my grandfather got shanked over there. My great grandfather, played craps over there. Just different memories that took place throughout the building. And Haley, of course, she got a rebuttal and says, history is important, but so is the future. And she's just not convinced on not selling the club. It is all that she has. And then she tells him, like, no matter what you do, the casino is coming and the referendum is going to pass. So the best we can do is get what's worth, get your money worth for the place. If we're going to move, make it worth your while. Now, in this scene, I was conflicted. Everybody's got a valid point. Haley is like, listen, me buying the club was just buying more time. It was prolonging the inevitable. Absolutely. And that is wonderful business sense that she was able to see that, they have the foresight, in that moment. And Clifford is coming from an emotional perspective, because he asked her, hey, how do you put a price tag on land that my ancestors had died on? And she tells him, well, we can start to the tune of $5 million, because that's now the current offer. And she's like, but I'm not going to take it. I'm still shooting for the 10. And I'm not taking less than 10. And she tries to, I don't know if she meant it, but she tries to throw him a bone by saying, hey, I'm going to get you what you deserve. And he don't believe her, as neither do I. And he tells, and then she goes on to say it's about the money that she bought the club with. She lost her daughter because of that money. It's the money she lost her daughter over, which I presume in the storm where she lost her daughter, because I think in certain flashbacks, it shows her grabbing the suitcase. So that means she grabbed the suitcase instead of grabbing her daughter, or after her daughter was gone, she grabbed the suitcase, something to that effect. Essentially, she gained the money and lost her daughter at the same time. So this is it. This is her life savings. All bets are on this club being successful or getting the most out of this club. She was like, listen, it ain't my inheritance, but it's my dream. I can't let it go. And I can't let it go to waste for my daughter's sake. And Clifford reminds her, like, I got it, but the baby is no longer with us, so there's really not no legacy to leave her. Conflicts, because everybody got their own reasons for this club, and they just stuck in a tiff. But the thing is, Haley has majority ownership, so it ain't really that, the scales ain't really balanced on that, in that fight, no way. But we'll throw a bone and say she's nice enough for entertaining the conversation. But I know if they offer her $10 million today, it really won't matter what Clifford does or does not want. Let's just say that. Okay. Terica is staying at Mercedes, and she's on the phone with Shell. She said, Shell, let her stay for a few more days, because Shell don't know that Terica is big pregnant at this point, and she's starting a show. And so Mercedes is like, so what are you going to do? And she has no idea. She's trying to do everything except talk about this baby. She want to paint her room. She want to do everything else. She don't know what to do, but she is starting to have cravings real tough. So it's getting late to make some decisions, to make a decision that's an option. But we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Murder is at Clifford's, and Clifford has burned the bloody clothes that he had on the night that Teak died. And Murder's sitting there, he's having flashbacks and memories about Teak. He's in his feelings about it. And then Ernestine starts to cough. She's coughing up her lungs at this point, and he goes in to help her. And she's talking about taking drinks from dead people and Isaac Hayes, and another inclination that Sis might be finna go to the great beyond. But let's just hope for the best. All right, he cooked her a good old Southern meal, and she told him, like, don't get too comfortable. Don't make yourself too helpful around here, because Clifford might like that. He might like you being around, and you're gonna end up having to stay. And he was like, okay, we'll put a good word in for me. She was like, keep looking like that. You keep cooking like that, I might put in a good word for you. And she also tells him, let's talk about how you smelled the other night. You smelled, look, I smelled death on you. I smelled, the night you showed up at my front door, I smelled the blood, and we know that people who lose their vision or who lose one sense, the other senses become that much more intense. So she was able to smell death on Murder the night he showed up. He didn't give her any answer to the question, but she knows that something ain't right. But what can she do? She in the middle of fighting for her own life. Ain't too much questioning you can do at this point. All right. At the grocery store, Keyshawn and Derek and family are shopping, and he's trying to small talk, and she don't care nothing about it. He offers to take her and the kids shopping, but she don't want no parts. Classic apology from abusers, definitely trying to buy their way back into your good graces, and she don't want no parts of it. She spots Haley peeking behind some shelves looking at her, and she makes an excuse to go get more makeup for the black eye that Derek recently gave her. Haley knew she might be able to find Keyshawn there. So she sees her black eye, and she was like, I guess you decided not to use my gun. So somehow or another, she is in contact with Haley, and Haley gave her gun to go ahead and end Derek so she can go ahead and go about her business. And Keyshawn said, listen, I couldn't. I chickened out. And Haley tells her, listen, there's more than one way to get out. When you're ready, come see me, essentially. Like, when you're ready. I can't do nothing until you're ready. All right. So Uncle Clifford gets home, and Murder has done everything to take care of Granny. He's checked her insulin, he's done everything, and she in there sleeping like a baby. She is sleeping peacefully. So they go downstairs to eat some food, and he tells Murder about the $5 million offer, but Uncle Clifford, he's not sold on it yet. And he tells Murder that, hey, you usually choose money over love, so I'm surprised you're telling me, that money ain't all it is. And he was like, well, some things are worth more than money. Which, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. But he did tell him, like, some things are worth more than money. I don't know what that means. He ain't going back on the tour, or he's not going to chase money as feverishly as he has, but he may. Because he also has, he still has the weight of Teak committing suicide on his heart, so he may feel like he owes it to Teak, because this is, they wanted to make it out the hood, and so he needs to go on tour to continue making it out the hood. So love or getting out the hood, I don't know. We'll see what decision he makes. All right. Uncle Clifford asked him how he was doing. He said, I'm fine. Uncle Clifford said, no, you're not, because I heard you crying in your sleep, and he blows him off. Okay. Terica's in the car singing "Wop, Wop, Wop." And Mercedes ain't here for it. Mercedes tells her, girl, please, you don't know nothing about it. Why you over here looking crazy? And Terica's like, how you think I got pregnant? Like, don't play with the kid. And Mercedes is like, girl, hush, because I told you what you needed to do in order to avoid getting pregnant. And Terica's like, no, all you really said about sex was keep my legs closed to little nappy-headed boys that only wanted one thing. And Mercedes is like, obviously, would you listen to that little bit of advice? So whatever, you over here big pregnant. Matter of fact, how far along are you? We have no idea. But Terica also realizes in this moment, their little car trip to go get ice cream, they're not headed. They're headed to Jackson, Mississippi, is where people go to in pregnancies. And And so Mercedes is telling her about the clinic and that she's running out of time to get the procedure done. And she essentially has ambushed Terica and trying to force her into getting rid of the child. And Terica's like, listen, you rushing me. Like, I still don't know what I want to do, and you can't make me decide. And Mercedes does give her some legit information about the fear of dying that comes with Black women in childbirth, but she doesn't go that in depth. And Terica's like, listen, I can't get rid of this baby because one of my friends, mama, sister, cousin, daddy, whatever, told me that you get cancer from abortions. And that let me know, first of all, that Terica is 14 if she believes that. For two, that Mercedes, Shell, whoever is rearing this child has failed her because she's getting a bunch of misinformation from everybody around her, which is the importance of talking to your kids about things that may be, while uncomfortable, important, because they are learning these things from their friends, and these little peasy-headed friends don't know up from down. So why would you want your child to get information from those people, especially about topics such as these? And so so that's a little tidbit on that as well. And she asked Mercedes, like, what do you think I should do? And Mercedes like, I don't even know yet. We just gonna head to Jackson and see what these people got to say, see what our options are. We're gonna go from there. All right. Murder finds his phone in the couch, and notifications is just going ham. And Woody has been looking for him. The Tina Snow track is taking off, and he's like, "Well, who gonna be security on the tour?" And then they start talking about Tiggy. He's like, "Well, where's the body?" It is at Woody's funeral home because no family has had, either they've been unable or unwilling to come pick up the body. And we know that Lil Murder's gonna make arrangements for his boy, and he's gonna send him off nice. So we'll go from there. Meanwhile, Uncle Clifford is upstairs making a bunch of damn noise, and she is trying to find something for Murder to fit because he is staying there yet another night. We learned that he got his first person at 3, and if anybody ever said anything to him about it, his mama would get them together. Just undying support for her son, no matter what he decided to be in life, and that was just a little smile. Murder asked him if he's always been like this, and then he asked him, like, what exactly are you? And he's like, I'm Uncle Clifford. What the hell is you? And he's like, I am what the world won't let me be. And I guess by way of him wanting to be his full unadulterated self, but he has to uphold this image now that he's a pseudo celebrity to be this tough gangster guy that can't exist in both of these worlds. I guess in 2022 you can't exist in both of these worlds. Sure. So he sees the postcards on the vanity mirror. He's like, oh, you kept all of them. He was like, yeah, I kept them. All right, whatever, I kept them. So they're chopping it up, and he loves who he is, but he's telling Murder that it gets lonely being who I am, just being myself. It gets kind of lonely, and he understood that Murder wasn't ready to stand in his truth. So he's gonna be patient on that. But Uncle Clifford, as out loud as he is, doesn't have the luxury of being able to blend in as Murder does. And so they hear some noise, and Ernestine then wandered out of the house. So now they got to go on a rescue mission to find her sick self and get her back in the house. Okay. Mercedes and Terica, they stop by a diner on the way to Jackson. And again, she tells her to squat and not sit. She is 14. This lesson in sanitation is maybe 13 years too late. Again, shows that while you have made efforts, there's still been some lacking in just basic information that should have been given to Terica. All right, so we flash back to the diner that they stopped at, and it shows Pastor Patrice. They were there. They were headed to Jackson to sleep on one of Patrice's friends' couch, and some guy was kind of looking at Mercedes, kind of winking, kind of being fresh, and she says to Mercedes, like, the bill is a little short, and she looks back at the man, which I presumed for Mercedes to either, I don't know if she wanted Mercedes to go sleep with the man. I don't know what the inclination was, because the bill had to get paid, and you wanted this man to pay it by some means with him and Mercedes. But then Mercedes was like, oh, don't worry about it. I got money in my wallet. Pulls out the wallet, and a condom falls out. And Patrice commences to kicking her ass for having protection. So you're upset about the fact So I was confused right there because you were gonna sell her off to the man, but you were upset about her having protection. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was a little flashback. Some boy is they got back in the car and some boy is texting what's his name? Some boy's texting Terica. His name is Keelan or Kellen or whatever his name is, and he's an artist. And Mercedes like, did you tell him about your situation? She was like, yeah, Kellen really wants to keep the baby. He said he's gonna take care of us. And Mercedes like, listen, that sounds nice, but words are easy, but living those words are hard. And Terica's like, listen, he gonna get a job. And it's like, and Mercedes is trying to give her realistic information, like, who gonna hire you at 14 years old? And she's like, listen, we love each other. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna raise this baby as a family. And Mercedes reminds her, like, listen, Cortez sold me all those same dreams up until I got pregnant. And Terica tells her, like, listen, you just bitter. All you know is the bad side of love, and you just jealous because I actually got somebody that, loved me like that. And Terica gets smacked across the face. And then, so now she has the resentment, even more resentment towards Mercedes, and says, hey, when I be a mama, I'm never going to slap my daughter. And Mercedes is like, yeah, I said the same thing. So now they get to drive in angst and silence for the rest of the way to Jackson. Okay. They get to the clinic. And the pro-lifers are out there with their signs, just handing out a no judgment for everybody. And Mercedes tells Terica, don't pay them no mind because they pro-life. Everybody pro-life until the baby is born. Absolutely. Y'all so pro-life, but when the babies get here, ain't no health care, ain't no family, ain't no FMLA, ain't no resources, nothing. You just want to usher the baby into the world, and then that's it. Yeah, essentially, that's pretty much it. All right, and so she visualizes, or she sees Patrice's face in the crowd, which I'm assuming is to be in judgment because Patrice is so saved and eternal damnation or whatever the hell else those people be preaching. And so they're doing the ultrasound, and she finds out that Terica she's far along. She's 14 weeks and four days, right at the deadline of being able to terminate the pregnancy, so she needs to hurry up. Terica's kind of happy to see the baby's heartbeat, and she asked the lady, like, can I get cancer? And the lady's like, not really, but there are risks associated with terminating a pregnancy, but many of those same risks are associated with childbirth, so you just have to weigh your options. And you got about 24 hours to decide, and we'll be here when you're ready. All right, so Murder and Uncle Clifford follow the trail of clothes down to the river, and it is Ernestine. She done wandered all the way out there, and she wants to get into the Mississippi River. She wants to go see Beulah, and Beulah is Clifford's mother. She is begging them. She is begging them to let her go. She's like, listen, if I can't go to the water, just bring the water to me. And in this moment, Murder puts some... I can't say murder. Why can't I just say murder? I can't say murder. Murder puts some water in a bonnet and gives her what I presume to be a baptism of sorts. If you are of Southern culture, you know that baptisms happen, and historically speaking, baptisms took place by people wading out into the river and literally being baptized in the lakes, rivers, or wherever the bodies of water are. But we also know that baptisms are a symbolism of new life, rebirth, refresh, restarts, things such as that. So what I took that to mean is that Murder gave her a baptism of sorts, which means this is her second chance at life. So I'm taking it as Ernestine not gonna die right now. She gonna hang on in there and she gonna pull on through because Murder done baptized her as a semblance of her of her being able to hang with us a little bit longer. Y'all tell me what you think. That's just what I got from it. Now, we know there has been a lot of symbolism for death in this season. And I presumed it to be Murder, but it ended up being Teak. So all the symbolism related to Ernestine may be someone else and not her. So we'll see. Or I'll just see, look at Katori's Twitter and see what she says about it. Because she does go into depth about each episode in her tweets. All right. Terica and Mercedes are at the pool, and Mercedes mad because some kid is splashing water, and she shows Terica, like, look, this is a glimpse at your future. She shows her a lady that's kind of wagging with a bunch of kids, and she's like, this could be you. And Terica she is fantasizing right now. She's thinking about names to call Mercedes as a grandma, and Mercedes she's just outdone at the fact like she about to be a grandma at 30. And so Terica's like, listen, it may be nice. Like, you can make up for everything that you missed with me, which is a reasonable assumption, as this is what grandparents tend to do. They overdo it where they lacked in their own child rearing. So, makes sense. It's a reasonable assumption. And Mercedes asked her, like, hey, don't you want to go to prom? Don't you want to see the world? And she was like, yeah, I want to go to Japan. Have you ever been to these places? And Mercedes is like, no. People wanted to fly me out, but I never wanted to go that far because it would be too far away from you. And while that sounds sweet, Terica also reminded us, later on in the episode, like, hey, you missed all my games. You missed my birthday parties. Like, so while you wanted to stay near, you weren't close enough. So then there's that. All right. And then she goes on to tell Terica, like, what does Terica want for Terica? Forget about me, forget about your grandma, forget about your baby daddy, what does Terica want for Terica's life? You got a decision to make, and it's ultimately yours to make. Ernestine is getting in the ambulance, and she doesn't want to die alone. She doesn't think she's ever coming back. It may be the final goodbye, but I don't think it is. My guess is it's not the final goodbye. But of course, Uncle Clifford doesn't know that at this point, and so she is overcome with emotion, at the fact that this may be the final goodbye. Keep in mind that this is height of pandemic, so there were no visitations, so people were perishing in the hospital by themselves. Where pre-pandemic, people were allowed to have guests or have people come in and do their last goodbyes. People didn't get these opportunities during the pandemic, so that was heavy on some people during those times, which is some of the emotions that Uncle Clifford is having to go through at this moment. All right. Terica is struggling to get into her jeans, which means, like, all right, time is up. So Mercedes is like, listen, time's up. What you trying to do? And you really not ready to be a mama? Like, what's up? And Terica tells her, like, listen, you don't have the right to tell me I'm not ready to be a mama because you would never want to me. And of course Mercedes is like, listen, they wouldn't let me. And so she was like, so were they the reason you missed all your visitations? You missed my birthday parties? Were they the reason for all of that? I doubt it. You just have so many excuses. And she was like, listen, if you only knew the sacrifices that I made for you, and even the gym that I was getting for you, it was for you. And Terica's like, so why you still ain't got it? Now, of course, Terica's 14, so she doesn't know the inner workings of, business or being an adult or making these type of things happen or the sacrifices that are made. All she knows is that her mama was not there. And so she looks in the mirror and Terica storms off into the bathroom. And Mercedes looks in the mirror and sees herself as Patrice, when Patrice was her parent when she was much younger. And so I think in that moment she decides, like, I don't want to do this how my mama did me. Like, I want to do a different approach. And so Terica told her, listen, you never had to prove anything to me. I just wanted you to be my mama. Child, that took me out. That took me out. Because as a kid, like, we never really care about, like, the bells and the whistles and the things and the trips and the places. All we really be wanting is for your parents to be there. Like, some parents are like, I'm working a million jobs to provide this, and this. But as a child, they don't understand the dynamics of those things. And ultimately, they just want you to be there. Maybe I'm speaking for too many people. Let me just speak for myself. Coming from somebody with absent parents, I can concur and I can empathize. I can say whatever the applicable word, empathize and sympathize. I can get jiggy with Terica on this. Like, sometimes you really just wanted your parents to be there. Doesn't matter if they were on a substance. Doesn't matter if they didn't have the money for these things. Didn't really matter. Just them being there was solace enough to know, like, okay, you cared enough to show up. And that is what Terica is saying. Like, okay, you throwing up all these sacrifices, but I didn't want none of that. I just wanted you. So that was pretty deep. All right, and Terica tells her, like, listen, it's too late. I'm having a baby, and I'm gonna be better than you. I'm gonna be better than Shell. I'm gonna be better than everybody. And Mercedes tells her, like, listen, it's let's just take a different approach. Like, it's gonna be your choice. Patrice didn't give me a choice. She didn't give me the option to terminate. She made me have you. And Terica says, okay, well, do you regret it? She was like, I entertained the thought of terminating the pregnancy, but I never once acted on it. Like, I just considered it as an option. And she says, but what I did do is I used the veil of Patrice's evil to gain some light for myself, which would be you, my daughter, Terica. And Terica asked her, like, do you think anybody's ever fully ready? And the answer is hell no. You are never you're never 100% ready to have a child. You just get ready, pretty much. And Mercedes tells her, like, listen, we got a lot of time to make up for it, so let's just start by, painting your room how you want it. Let's just do whatever you want when we get home. Now, whether we go to Jackson first or not, I don't even care. That's your decision. Just know I'm rocking with you no matter which way it goes. All right, Uncle Clifford is in the shower crying, and he doesn't, and of course this is because he doesn't know if Ernestine is going to make it. He gets out the shower, and Murder is in there playing the thong song, giving him a little show, just giving him a smile, in this tumultuous situation. And they're having some fun together, just getting stuff off their mind, and he's shedding tears, and Murder's drying his tears, and, just exchange of passion, doing what grown folks do. All right. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna say now. Terica and Mercedes checks out, and she gives Terica the car keys, and she was like, "Listen, you know how to drive. It's your choice if we going back to Chucalissa or if we going back to Jackson. I'm just here for the ride. I'm just here in support." And they take the exit to Jackson, and Mercedes has a little bit of, she got a little smirk on her face when when they make the exit, and I don't think it's because Mercedes is happy that her daughter is ending her pregnancy. What I think it is she has foresight, and she knows what her life can be as a 14-year-old with a baby. She knows what her life was like, and so she may have relief in knowing that Terica may have a shot at a better life because she has made a decision that may give her a little bit more time to make she can make an informed decision later on in life. So we're not going to be here to discuss pro-choice, pro-life, none of that. We're not going to do that here because I don't argue with people on the internet. So that's the gist of that. She going to do what she needs to do, what she has decided is best for her and her situation, and that's just it. All right. So Uncle Clifford and Murder are talking, and he was like, "Well, why did you let me back in?" And he was like, "Because we needed each other." So he was about to tell him about Teak, and Uncle Clifford was like, "No, only tell him when you're ready." So he gave him some grace in there, and it was cute to see that they found their way back to each other when they needed each other the absolute most. So that was a cute little scene. Terica and Mercedes is sitting down watching TV and eating ice cream after she's gotten her procedure done, and Patrice comes up on the TV, and Terica's trying to get up to turn it. And Mercedes tells her, no, just leave her back there as white noise in the background. The only power she has is the power that you give her. We're not even on that. Like, just let Patrice be Patrice. And Terica asks her, like, am I going to burn in hell for what I just did? And Mercedes is like, well, girl, if you do, I'm going to be right there with you. Again, just all we really be needing is a little bit of support, a little bit of consistency. It don't even matter whether you agree, whether it aligns with what you believe, what you think should happen. It is that girl's life. Just support that girl, and it is what it is. If we go to hell, we going together. Point blank, the end. All right. At Keyshawn, somebody rings the doorbell, and it is Autumn night. And she claims she picked up something for the baby at the outlets, and she asked Keyshawn to hold the baby. And she tells a story about a little girl named Haley who belonged to no one and never had her own home. She walked through the deep, dark woods seeking shelter from a constant storm, until one day a baby fell out of the sky and all her dreams came true. And she swore to do anything to protect that family. That's when she met a hunter. Okay, wait, no man. I'm sorry, I messed that story up. The baby fell out of the sky, and then the man came, which would have been Montavious, who is a hunter, bought her a 3-story house, put her in the finest linens, but she thought she had it all, until one night she realized that she was actually trapped. She emptied all her bags full of tears, making a river that flooded the whole forest, which I'm assuming to be the flood where she lost her child and got the money. But she could swim, and her baby couldn't, unfortunately, and her tears drowned her only because she, and her tears, which would be the flood, drowned the baby only because she took too long to leave. And the ultimate gist of the story is, this is me. I'm Haley. Haley lost her baby because she took too long to leave a tumultuous situation. So you need to hurry up and figure out how to leave Derek before it's too late. That was the gist of that. And Autumn hands her the baby, and in that bag that she got for the baby is a cell phone. And she was like, look up Haley Colton and call me when you're ready to learn how to swim. And in this moment, that was the only good thing that Haley has done all season. So hopefully she's going to be able to get Keyshawn out of this situation. Now, Keyshawn don't really have the guts to off Derek herself. So maybe Autumn will do it herself and she'll have some blood on her hand for once. But we'll see how it goes. So that has been it. It has been a very good episode. It was good, but I'm not gonna say waiting 2 weeks worth good. Now it was good. It was jam packed full of things, but y'all ain't have to make us wait that long. Anyway, again, this is season 2, episode 7. Let me know what you think about the episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.